Hello, everybody. Today we're going to read Chapter 9 of The Outsiders. Be sure to be following along as I read. Chapter 9. It was almost 6:30 when I got home. The rumble was set for 7, so I was late for supper, as usual. I always came in late. I forgot what time it is. Derry had cooked dinner, baked chicken and potatoes and corn. 2 chickens because all 3 of us eat like horses, especially Derry. But although I loved baked chicken, I could hardly swallow any. I swallowed 5 aspirins, though, when Derry and Soda weren't looking. I do that all the time because I can't sleep very well at night. Derry thinks I take just 1, but usually I take 4. I figured 5 would keep me going through the rumble and maybe get rid of my headache. Then I hurried to take a shower and change clothes. Me and Soda and Derry always got spruced up before a rumble. And besides, we wanted to show those socks we weren't trash, that we were just as good as they were. Soda, I called from the bathroom. When did you start shaving? When I was 15, he yelled back. When did Derry? When he was 13. Why? You frickin' growing a beard for the rumble? You're funny. We ought to send you to the Reader's Digest. I hear they pay a lot for funny things. Soda laughed and went right on playing poker with Steve in the living room. Derry had on a tight black t-shirt and showed every muscle on his chest, and even the flat, hard muscles of his stomach. I'd hate to be the sock who takes a crack at him, I thought, as I pulled on a clean t-shirt and a fresh pair of jeans. I wished my t-shirt was tighter. I had a pretty good build for my size, but I'd lost a lot of weight in Windrixville, and it just didn't fit right. It was a chilly night, and t-shirts aren't the warmest clothes in the world. But nobody ever got cold in a rumble, and besides, jackets could interfere with your swinging ability. Soda, Steve, and I had put on more hair oil than was necessary, but we wanted to show that we were greasers. Tonight we could be proud of it. Greasers may not have much, but they have rep. That and long hair. What kind of world is it where all I have to be proud of is a reputation for being a hood and greasy hair? I don't want to be a hood, but even if I don't steal things and mug people and get boozed up, I marked lousy. Why should I be proud of it? Why should I even pretend to be proud of it? Derry never went in for the long hair. He was short and clean all the time. I sat in the armchair in the living room, waiting for the rest of the outfit to show up. But of course, tonight the only one coming would be Two-Bit. Johnny and Dallas wouldn't show up. Soda and Steve were playing cards and arguing as usual. Soda was keeping up a steady stream of wisecracks and clowning, and Steve had turned up the radio so loud that it almost broke my eardrums. Of course, everybody listens to it loud like that, but it wasn't just the best thing for a headache. You like fights, don't you, Soda? I asked suddenly. Yeah, sure, he shrugged. I like fights. How come? I don't know. He looked at me puzzled. It's action. It's a contest. Like a drag race, or a dance or something. Shoot, said Steve. I want to beat those socks head in. When I get in a fight, I want to stomp the other guy good. I like it, too. How come you like fights, Derry? I asked, looking up at him as he stood behind me, leaning in the kitchen doorway. He gave me one of those looks that hide what he's thinking, but Soda piped in. He likes to show off his muscles. I'm going to show 'em off on you, little buddy, if you get any mouthier. I digested what Soda had said. It was the truth. Derry liked anything that took strength, like weightlifting or playing football or roofing houses. Even if he was proud of being smart too, Derry never said anything about it. But I knew he liked fights. I felt out of things. I'll fight anyone anytime, but I don't like it. I don't know if you ought to be in this rumble, Pony, Derry said slowly. Oh no, I thought, in mortal fear. I've got to be in it. Right then, the most important thing in my life was helping us whip the Sox. Don't let him make me stay home now. I've got to be in. How come? I've always come through before, ain't I? Yeah, Derry said with a proud grin. You fight real good for a kid your size. But you were in shape before. You've lost weight, and you don't look great, kid. You're tensed up too much. Shoot, said Soda, trying to get the ace out of his shoe without Steve seeing him. We all get tensed up before a rumble. Let him fight tonight. Skin never hurt anyone. No weapons, no danger. I'll be okay, I pleaded. I'll get hold of a little one, okay? Well, Johnny won't be there this time. Johnny and I sometimes ganged up on one big guy. But then Curly won't be there either, or Dally. We'll need every man we can get. What happened to Shepard? I asked, remembering Tim Shepard's kid brother Curly. He was a tough, cool, hard as nails Tim in miniature, and I had once played chicken by holding our cigarette ends against each other's fingers. We had stood there, clenching our teeth and grimacing, with sweat pouring down our faces and the smell of burning flesh making us sick, each refusing to holler, until Tim happened to stroll by. When he saw we were really burning holes in each other, he cracked our heads together, swearing to kill us both if we ever pulled a stunt like that again. I still have the scar on my forefinger. Curly was an average downtown hood, though not real bright, but I liked him. He could take anything. He's in the cooler, Steve said, kicking the ace out of Soda's shoe. In the reformatory. Again, I thought, and said, Let me fight, Derry. If it was blades or chains or something, it'd be different. Nobody really gets hurt in a skin rumble. Well, Derry gave in. I guess you can, but be careful, and if you get in a jam, holler and I'll get you out. I'll be okay, I said wearily. How come you never worry about Soda Pop as much? I don't see you lecturing him. Man, Derry grinned and put an arm around Soda's shoulder. This is one kid, brother, I don't have to worry about. Soda punched him in the ribs affectionately. This kiddo can get used to his head. Soda Pop looked down at me with mock superiority. But Derry went on. You can see he uses it for one thing, to grow hair on. He ducked Soda's swing and took off for the door. Two-Bit stuck his head in the door just as Derry went flying out of it, leaping as he went off the steps. Derry turned a somersault in midair, hit the ground, and bounced up before Soda could catch him. Well up? Two-Bit said cheerfully, cocking an eyebrow. I see we are in prime condition for a rumble. Is everybody happy? Yeah, screamed Soda as he too did a flying somersault off the steps. He flipped up to walk on his hands and then did a no-hands cartwheel across the yard to beat Derry's performance. The excitement was catching. Screaming like an Indian, Steve went running across the lawn in flying leaps, stopped suddenly, and flipped backward. We could all do acrobatics because Derry had taken a course at the Y and then spent a whole summer teaching us everything he'd learned on the ground so that it might come in handy in a fight. It did, but it also got Two-Bit and Soda jailed once. They were doing mid-air flips on a downtown sidewalk, walking on their hands and otherwise disturbing the public and the police. Leave it to those two to pull something like that. With a happy whoop, I did a no-hands cartwheel off the porch steps, hit the ground, and rolled my feet. Two-Bit followed me in a similar manner. I'm a greaser, Soda Pop chanted. I'm a JD in a hood. I blacken the name of our fair city. I beat up people. I rob gas stations. I'm a menace to society. Man, do I have fun. Greaser, 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 Steve sing-songed. Oh, victim of environment, underprivileged, rotten, no-count hood. Juvenile delinquent, you're no good, Derry shouted. Get thee hence, white trash, Two-Bit said in a snobbish voice. I'm a sock. I am the privileged and well-dressed. I throw beer blasts, drive fancy cars, break windows, and fancy parties. And what do you do for fun? I inquired in a serious, odd voice. I jump greasers, Two-Bit screamed, and did a cartwheel. We settled down as we walked to the lot. Two-Bit was the only one wearing a jacket. He had a couple of cans of beer stuffed in it. He always gets high before a rumble. Before anything else, too, come to think of it. I shook my head. I'd hate to see the day when I had to get my nerve from a can. I'd tried drinking once before. The stuff tasted awful. I got sick and a headache, and when Derry found out, he grounded me for 2 weeks. But that was the last time I'd ever drink. I'd seen too much of what drinking did for you at Johnny's house. Hey, Two-Bit, I said, deciding to complete my survey. How come you like to fight? He looked at me as if I were a nut. Shoot, everybody fights. If everybody jumped in the Arkansas River, old Two-Bit would be right on their heels. I had it then. Soda fought for fun, Steve for hatred, Derry for pride, and Two-Bit for conformity. Why do I fight? I thought. I couldn't think of any good reason. There isn't any real good reason for fighting except self-defense. Listen, Soda, you and Ponyboy, Derry said as we strode down the street. If the Fuzz show up, you two beat it out of there. The rest of us can only get jailed. You two can get sent to a boys' home. Nobody in this neighborhood's gonna call the Fuzz, Steve said grimly. They know what'd happen if they did. All the same, you two blow at the first sign of trouble. You hear me? You sure don't need an amplifier, Soda said, and stuck out his tongue at the back of Derry's head. I stifled a giggle. If you want to see something funny, it's a tough hood sticking his tongue out at his big brother.